Hello, world. We're glad you're tuned in, and we have a special guest for you today, Jon Andersen, muscle builder. But he's built, buddy.
Now, let's get ready. You are Talkin Live with Lamar Bearden.
All right, Jon, the floor is yours. And I just kind of wanted to touch base, with the people out there, It's Jon Andersen. He's a strong man. He's been a wrestler, bodybuilder. He's like me. Entrepreneur, just like me. He's a speaker, author, and he's got a lot going on. And he's born in let's see, he was born at where was it? You was born at?
Yeah, San Francisco. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, he's 53. He's still a young man, so you women don't forget that. And like I say, he's born in 72, the 8th of January. But he's here to talk about bodybuilding and say nutrition, maybe. Anyway, he's got the floor. So, Jon, go ahead. Start. You start.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Well, I think, the really compelling thing about me is my story. Most people look at me, I've had 3 different sports at the highest level: international pro strongman, wrestler, bodybuilder. I've created multiple, I'm an entrepreneur, created multiple 7-figure companies, have plenty of business success. When people look at me, and what they don't realize is that it didn't start that way. As a youngster, I had a whopping learning disability. In those days, they didn't have all the letters and stuff. There was no ADD, OCD. They just said, the kid's slow. Yeah, we got to put them in a different classroom. One day I'm in the classroom with, it's the parent teacher meeting, and I'm thinking, oh, this sounds fun. And, my mom and my teacher also, they're telling me I got to go to a different classroom. And I'm thinking, oh, great, new friends. Well, I realized I get to this classroom, and this is kids that are having trouble, like really having trouble. Like I was probably on the upper end of the spectrum of the kids that were in this class. So as you can understand, that was where they put all the slow kids. I had a hard time learning. And so right away, I realized, holy smokes, you are not in with the normal group anymore. The regular kids are not in this class. And I wanted to get back. As you know, when you're young, all you want to do is be like everybody else. Then you get older, you realize you don't want to be like everybody else. But when you're young, you just want to fit in. And so I had to work twice as hard as everybody else. And I had it prompted me to develop a problem-solving skill set, because I wasn't learning the way they were teaching. So I had to figure out a way to retain this information fast so I could get back into the normal classrooms. Now, this took me a couple of years. It wasn't like it was overnight. But then basically now we fast forward, I'm going into high school, and I tell my mom, please don't let them put me back in those classes, and she said, look, I'll try, so she went and talked to the principal, and she kind of just strong-armed the principal. The principal agreed, but he said, if he can't keep up, we have to put him back. If he's taking too much of the teacher's attention. So basically I went into the normal classrooms and I worked my butt off. And I didn't even know I'd created this problem-solving skill set that I'm putting to work. And I was able to get by. I was getting C's, but those were A's to me, and my mom was proud. I was proud, and it was great, so, but what I'm getting at is this period of my life where I had to learn to work twice as hard and develop these skills. This was my biggest blessing in my life. You take that away from me, I got nothing, So people out there that think that your challenges are holding you back, your challenges are actually making you better you, so that you can go out in the world and get what you want. The saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. There's nothing more true. So basically from there, I found the weight room. My mom was smart enough, to put me in playing sports, because she knew, we can't give this kid TV. We got to keep him active, because I was different. I was, hyperactive and OCD and ADD and all. I didn't have the letters for it. And so they basically, what in those days, if you played football, you had to lift weights for PE, which I think they still should do because it helps the kids from getting hurt. Well, I quickly realized that I was much better at lifting the weights than the sports I was playing. Than the sports I was lifting the weights for. And so all of a sudden I realized I'm starting to become good at something, and that's the first time I was like, wow, I'm actually making progress to where I'm actually keeping up or actually getting ahead of other kids. Then junior year, this is the turning point where it all changed. I'd seen the movie Conan the Barbarian, right? Sometime earlier in high school. And first time I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was like something in my chest just switched, right? And I just knew at that point I had to be this big, strong guy. No idea what I was going to do with it, but I just knew that was what I was supposed to do. And keep in mind, I'm a fat little sucker because, that learning disability, I'm getting picked on, I'm getting stocked in the lockers, putting in trash cans. And in those days, nobody got in trouble. You didn't go tell. That was just the world we lived in, And so I ran to food for comfort. So I'm a fat little guy, but I'm getting kind of strong. I know I want to be this big, strong guy, but I'm still looking for the answers in the bottom of the cookie jar. And so beginning of junior year, we basically had to do our maxes. We maxed in the squat, the bench press, and the power clean. So the football coaches could help us figure out what our workouts were going to be. Well, I was one of two kids that squatted 405 in that first max of junior year. And literally at that point, everything changed because now I'm legitimately one of the best in my age group at lifting weights. And, in high school, that word spreads just boom. So later that day, as the word spreads, I can feel the difference in the hallways. I'm the kid normally walking in the hall, people bumping into me. All of a sudden now people are kind of getting out of my way. And I was like, well, this is then the fire hit. I'm like, okay, I am good at something. I took that extra work ethic. I'm always used to working twice harder than anybody else. I took those problem solving skills and I applied them to the weight room like no other. And man, did I get strong. And this is where I catch traction in my journey, By then to high school, I've started to become kind of a young strapping lad, if you will. I'm not overweight anymore. I'm a strong kid. Now I'm going to college. I didn't want to go to college. I just wanted to stay home and lift weights. My mom was like, absolutely not. You're going to college. So I figured, well, this is an opportunity for me to continue lifting weights. This isn't so bad at all. I told her, I said, look, school's hard for me. I want to go 5 years instead of 4. She said, no problem. And keep in mind, I didn't have the test scores or the grades to get into a state school. They all denied me. She had to pay full tuition at a small Catholic school so I could go to college. And so anyway, so here, this is a perfect example of how my problem solving skill set is going to serve me for the major first time, not in the weight room. So I get to college and I'm reading probably about a 9th grade reading level, maybe. I'm still very challenged reading. And so I go, I'm thinking, man, I have to somehow get through these classes because, and they don't mess around there. You get 1 grade under a C in 1 semester. If you do it again the second semester, you're out. They kick you out just that quick. So I was like, I have to get my C's here. So I go to the bookstore, I buy all the books, take them back to my dorm room. It's a big stack of books, So of course, me looking at these books, they're daunting. I picked the thinnest one. So I open this baby up, right? And I'm like, there's no pictures in here. That's the books I've been reading, got pictures. Yeah, I'm in college now, but I'm still reading books that got pictures in them, or trying to read books. So I spent about 2-3 hours trying to read and get the information out of the first 3 or 4 pages of this book. And a few hours goes by and I was like, I can read this stuff. It's real choppy, but I have no idea what I'm reading. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to figure out how to get the information out of this book with my reading level. So I sat down, I was like, okay, I have to figure this out. Now here's my problem solving skills going in. So I created this idea, this plan where I was going to go to each professor and find out from the professor what percentage of the final, because, in college, it's a midterm and a final. That's it, right? 2 tests. So I asked him which I need to know how much information is in the book and how much is in the lectures for these two tests. And some of the professors said, well, about 80% of the information is in the lectures. Perfect. Don't need to read those books. I'll go to class, pay attention, take good notes, because remember, I found my own way to learn. I wasn't reading, I was listening and writing. Other professors said, well, it's about 50-50. So I realized, okay, I need some of the information out of that book. So I would then find someone in the class that I would befriend, and I would have conversations about that book. Now, I didn't want to tell anybody. It was quite embarrassing at that point that I didn't read well. So I would just kind of spark up conversations about the book in the class. And that's how I was able to get the information out of these books so I could pass my classes. So I went through college and didn't read a book. Graduated with a major in theology and a minor in philosophy. So that just shows you right there how my problem solving skill sets had already started to serve me, and again, if I didn't have that disability, the learning disability in the beginning, I wouldn't have developed these skills. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about, this amazing life I've created for myself. So again, the thing that I really like to remind people is those challenges in your life, those are your blessings. Don't let those be the reasons why you're not who you want to be. Those are the reasons why you can be who you want to be. So remember that for everybody listening. So college is over.
Did you do any kind of sports when you was in college?
I did. I played rugby because I had played sports all through high school, and all of a sudden I'm in college and I'm lifting weights 3 hours a day, but I missed that team community. I was like, man, I'm used to having teammates, people that I can kind of hang out with and talk. So I started playing rugby. So I had a really, really good rugby career at University of Portland, where I went to school. So I graduate college and I come out of there. I'm about 265. And bro, let me tell you, Lamar, I was freaking strong. Like I could go to pretty much any gym and I could outlift anybody. I had worked so hard through college, and I was doing all this work, so to speak, when no one was looking. Nobody was working out as often or as hard as I was. I didn't drink. I was just lifting weights, chasing some girls as well. That was part of the equation, but lifting weights, I was never going to, that's it. I was never going to miss a workout for chasing a girl. That tells you how the totem pole of importance lined up for me. So I come out of college and I'm like, I'm getting closer to being able to live my dream as this big, strong dude. And I think that I'm going to, at that point, I don't know if it's going to be bodybuilding or what it's going to be, but I'm kind of ready, but mentally, I still am behind. I'm still kind of catching up mentally. I still see myself as that, the fat little boy, so to speak, because realistically, I always make the joke, once a fat kid, always a fat kid. That fat little sucker still lives deep inside of me somewhere, So anyway, so I come out of college and I had no intention to get a job. I've not been doing things my whole life like everybody else. I'm not doing that. So I just immediately started business. My first business was actually a great idea. It was just 2 decades too early. It was meal prep. Now meal prep is huge. Everybody uses meal prep. Comes in little containers. Well, I was doing this because I was solving my own problem at that point, but there just wasn't enough people in the world who had the problem I had because people weren't living the lifestyle I was living at that point, Not to mention protein powders just hit the market. So they had kind of taken the place of food for many people, like high levels of protein was easier to drink down. So that business failed. And I basically, at that point, I'm hungry. I'm real hungry, but I'm still not giving. I'm not going to get a job. I'm just keep pushing. So I think I need to, and I say I'm hungry. I'm broke. I don't have anything to eat. I'm hungry. And so I was like, well, I need to start a business where I can make some money. I don't have the luxury of doing something that I think is really cool. So I started a painting company. Now, why did I do that? Because I did it in the summer times in college. And, in college, I just went door to door. I'd knock on a door. Hey, any single story home, I say, hey, I'll paint your home for $1,500. I'm a college kid. I go to University of Portland. They love that. So I could basically $1,500, $200 in paint, pay $300 to a buddy to help me do it. We could knock it out in weeks. As a college kid in like 1991, I'm making like $1,000 in cash a week, which was pretty good, So
Yeah,
I thought, well, if I could yeah, if I could take that, I'm thinking right at this point, $1,000 a week sounds amazing, you know? So I'm thinking I'll just go back. And so I started this painting company, completely illegal, no license, no insurance. And I hired people to do all the work, but same guerrilla stuff. I'm out knocking on doors. Well, basically, as I started this company going, my idea is this is not my dream. This is a way for me to make money and still have the time for my training. And I realized how problematic it is to have a big staff of workers. So I realized, okay, this is not going to be a business, it's going to run itself. So I'm going to need to sell this thing. So 5 years later, I built it up to 25 employees and I sell it. You know, that was the first 7-figure company I created. I'm still in my mid-20s. And so I sell it. Boom, all of a sudden, you know, the fat little boy that's still, you know, this is what I'm thinking to myself. You're just a fat little boy. Look what you just did. You know what I mean? And it was all because of my work ethic and my problem solving skills in business. I just saw more efficient ways to do things. And so ultimately, there's my first real, I guess you'd say, win as a businessman. Now, right about this time, I'd actually started competing in strongman. So I did my first competition. I won. Second competition, I became a professional, went to a pro qualifier, went to qualified for nationals, what's in that. So my fourth ever strongman competition, I'm an international player now. So, you know, it's like I've done so much work when no one was looking, so to speak, in the dark. I've got the strength to just go shooting right onto the circuit, which I did. So now, again, came out of college, never got a job. I am living life my way. Why? Because I had this unbelievable work ethic and I had this amazing ability to look at situations and figure out how to solve problems that was going to be efficient, because that's how I had to get through life when I was young. You know, you're going to see this theme going through my whole life. So basically, I'm going to Europe. I'm competing in strongman. I got this big wad of cash. So what I just started a real estate company. This was the early 2000s. The real estate market was booming. So I'm going to buy houses in cash. I got all the connections from my painting companies and fixing these things up, selling them. I'm keeping a few. So again, I mean, I'm just kind of going about things very differently. Again, because of the way that I see the world, and it's just everything's falling right into place. Right. So my real estate company doing well. The real estate market kind of dries up. So that ended. That was kind of funny because that was right about the time I had to have a back surgery in strongman, because, you know, pulling planes and lifting Atlas balls, that beats you up pretty quick, you know? And I had an agent at this point because I was one of the few guys in strongman who looked really muscular, wasn't fat. And, you know, I was petrified of being fat because I was a fat little boy. Well, hopefully that's better. I had my microphone off the side. Hopefully that's better for you guys. My apologies. So anyway, we were getting like commercials. I was in a 2006 Super Bowl commercial. You know, it's like life was good. All of a sudden, this back surgery hits, and the surgeon told my agent, he said, if he goes back in a circuit, he's going to be on this table again in about a year. So my agent says to me, hey, we got to find out something else for you to do. I said, okay, what are we going to do? He said, we're going to send you to Japan and wrestle. I'm like, wrestling, pro wrestling. I was never even a wrestling fan. I just like to watch the big guys run around in the ring, flex their muscles. So we basically sent me to a school to learn how to do it, because it's a dance. It's all predetermined. You know who's going to win, you know who's going to lose, and you even know what the match is supposed to look like. It's like a very physical play. So I learned how to do this. But keep in mind, most wrestlers that get the big contracts, they've been doing this for 10 years because they got to learn how to do it really well. Well, I learned how to do it, and I do a few matches. These are like the ones in high school gyms, you know, like the ones that I'm used to competing, say, at Riga, Latvia, in an amphitheater with 15,000 people screaming when I'm lifting up Atlas stones. All of a sudden now I'm in a high school gym, you know, with 60 people watching me, and I got more teeth than everybody in the damn front row, you know, because then wrestling fans sometimes can be interesting creatures, you know? So anyway, like when I'm doing this, I need to get footage of me wrestling so we can send it to the Japanese companies. And my agent fully I guess you'd say, fraudulated a resume. He wrote up with this resume that I knew how to wrestle. I'd been doing it for years. I'd been doing it for months. So he calls me one day and says, "Hey, don't F this up." That's, of course, he said the real word. You're going to Japan. You got a mini tour, which means I had 3 matches. He goes, "You go and you do well, they will sign you. You screw this up, we've been exposed. Nobody will ever sign us." And so, because if I screwed it up, the whole wrestling world would see I didn't know what I was doing.
Was you wrestling a human wrestler? One of those big guys, human?
One fun I did, yeah. Yeah, one of them, grand champion, became one of my really good friends over there, Hockey Bono. He just recently died. Rest in peace, brother. Anyway, so I go over so we're talking like I've been wrestling for like 9 months. Probably my 9th or 10th ever wrestling match is at a pay-per-view in Sapporo, Japan, and probably in front of 15,000 people, man. And I just got to figure out how just like my strongman career, I got in quick, boom, did really well, got to the top, stayed there. Now we got to do this thing in wrestling. The opportunity is right now. And I realized, well, you don't really know what you're doing here, but you know that you can get people out to stand up in their seats and yell when you start yelling and flexing your muscles. So ultimately, I had a couple of good matches, and I pulled it off, and I got signed. So now I'm a pro wrestler, right? And keep in mind, when I'm going from strongman to pro wrestling, you know what everybody said? You can't do that. That's not possible. They were telling me that same when I was a kid, when I was trying to get out of those classes. No, you can't get out of the classes. Right. Well, my work ethic and my problem solving skills allowed me to navigate these really, really difficult situations. Well, so I'm a wrestler for about 7 years. I'm in Japan, loving life, having a great time. I actually went and wrestle all places in North Korea.
Japan loves that wrestling. Japan, they love that wrestling.
Oh, man. I mean, I remember walking out in the Tokyo Dome in front of like 50-some thousand people. They really love that stuff, So anyway, so we're basically had a great wrestling career. 42 years old, I get released. That's just kind of the way they do it. They don't want to reinvest a bunch of money, and then somebody's getting older. So I come home and I think, well, what am I going to do now? I guess I'll be a bodybuilder. And of course, what do I hear? I hear the same thing. You can't do that. You're 42. You're not going to be able to do that. And I said, hey, you might be right, but I'm going to try anyway. Right? Well, I got my work ethic. I got my problem solving skills. And I get at it. So I do my first contest, I win. Go to a national championship, I win. Now I'm a pro bodybuilder in 2 contests. And for people that know bodybuilding, understand how difficult that is. I'm one of 5 people in the history of the IFBB that's ever done that before. And I didn't even really know it was a difficult task. I just knew that I wanted to turn pro bodybuilding. So I didn't listen to what people said. I just did what I had to do to get there. So my 3rd ever bodybuilding show is my pro debut. And I placed 5th there, had a great pro bodybuilding career. But keep in mind, I've been staying in business the whole time. Keep business going. Well, now I'm a pro bodybuilder. So what does a pro bodybuilder do? He starts a gym. So I start a gym, another check. That's another dream, My whole life was a big dream to me. I didn't even know when I was a fat little boy, I didn't even know how to dream this big. I didn't think I could do one of these careers, let alone 3. Have multiple successful businesses. So, I mean, I'm pitching myself all the time saying, is this a dream or is this real? And it all goes back to me being kind of a pathetic little sucker and learning those skills, the work ethic and the problem solving, because that's what allowed me to do all of this stuff. So now I got this gym. Now this is where my purpose in life, I discover my purpose in life right here. So this is kind of pivotal. So I start my gym. I'm a pro bodybuilder. My kids are great. I got 3 beautiful girls. Everything is going wonderful. I can't believe this. This is amazing, Well, I start getting calls to my gym and people say, hey, can you train me? I said, of course I can. Well, in my mind, I've only done business in local geographic areas. So I'm thinking to myself, of course I could train you. Where do you live? A couple exits away. I say, I live in Missouri. Well, I guess I'll be doing this over the phone. So not a problem. I set it up and I coached them over the phone. The phone keeps ringing. People are calling my gym asking me if I can coach them, but they're not in the geographic area. So I I've got this other business is starting to form itself. And I mean, it's just kind of fallen in my lap. So I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to have you kind of manage, look over the gym. I'm going to lean on this thing, this phone call type training and see what's going on. And dude, it turned itself into a 7-figure company probably in about 2 years, just bam. Now I'm changing people's lives is a big part of it. They're coming to me because, they want to get stronger. They want to lose weight. And I quickly realized that they're having a hard time with doing the things that needed to do that. So I start kind of giving a more mental framework coaching. That's when everything started to shift. So I coach the mind. Of course, I tell people how to eat and I teach them how to exercise. But really what it is, it all starts here. So I'm not just changing the way people look and how much they can lift. I'm changing how they think, and their lives are literally becoming better places because of working with me. And that's where I'm changing lives. And that's where I realized that was my purpose. That gave me a better feeling inside than any trophy or pro card or anything else. Now, here's the interesting thing. There's this whole thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So in the beginning, remember, I saw Arnold for the first time, and bam, that's what started this whole thing. Well, I ended up working with Arnold in some of his charity events before COVID. And a couple conversations we had, he said, hey, you've done really well. You've done some really cool things. He goes, but you're probably at that point in your life where giving back and helping other people do things they didn't know they could do is going to be equally or more rewarding than the things you've done for yourself. And literally I connected to what he said to what was happening in terms of changing people's lives. And this is basically my mentoring company. This is my life's work. I change people's lives. I mentor people. And this has not worked for me. One day I just won't wake up. You don't retire from something you love. And so now I've got my coaching company. And basically, I've got my peptide company right to the side of it because peptides are a huge part. Peptides are kind of they're almost kind of helping people stay away from modern medicine. When I say modern medicine, helping them stay away from opiates and, all sorts of, a lot of the modern medicine can be very addictive and troublesome, So between my coaching company and my peptide company, I educate people on how to live better lives, brother. I'm just living on top of the world. And the best part about it is my message. When I meet someone and they're telling me about the struggle they've had, and if that hadn't happened, they'd be doing so much better. I'll explain to them, hey, the challenges that you're going through, these are opportunities. I give them a snapshot of my story, and it helps them realize, man, I'm looking at this from the wrong side of the equation. Because realistically, life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us.
All this
Stuff that challenge. What's that?
All this coaching, did it help
Yeah.
people? Did it help people with their back problems and teaching them how to keep from hurting their back or maybe stuff like that? That
I help people from hurting their backs. I help people with better energy. I help people better focus. I mean, in many cases, my clients will end up making more money because they're so much better at what they do. They have more energy, they have more focus, they wake up earlier, they're just better, and they're better fathers, better husbands. The way I say it is this: when you level up as a person, your whole life levels up. And there's nothing that makes me more happy than to be able to help someone do things that they didn't think they could do. That to me, that just lights my fire, brother.
I listen to you, what you're saying, and I think myself, the old saying, don't always put your eggs in one basket. So that's what you did. You didn't put your eggs all in one basket.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I start things. I'll get things started, and if it don't work, I'll go to another. I make sure that what I'm doing, and you're doing the same thing. Now, I didn't go to college. I'm like Jethro Bodine. I never got out of the 6th grade, but you know,
No shit.
yeah. And when you care about, and you said, oh, you didn't want to retire, you loved it so much. I don't doing this and recycling. I don't want to retire. I
Yeah,
can't.
that's
Well, what am I gonna do? Sit around and look at the walls? I can't handle it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's when you're doing something that you like to do or you love to do, you're just gonna keep doing it.
That's right. Don't
It
stop.
just it's like if you love to go to the movies on Thursday night, you'll go to the movies on Thursday night, until you can't go to the movies on Thursday night. Well, changing people's lives, I'll do this every day until one day I don't wake up. And on that level, brother, I don't do Monday through Friday. I just I don't pay attention to the days. People would say I work every day, but I'm not working. Changing lives does not work to me.
I work
Yeah,
I work because I like it,
just
and it keeps me going.
yes, yes, exactly right.
And I had a friend always told me when people retire, they die. So, I mean, we don't never
Yeah,
want to retire. Maybe slow down,
yeah.
but never retire.
In our town, great ideas start at Village Print Shop. For over 39 years, Village Print Shop has been the trusted print partner for local businesses and life's biggest moments. Need business cards, signs, wedding invitations? We've got you covered fast, local, and done right the first time. We're not just printers, we're partners. With personal service, quick turnaround, and decades of trust. Village Print Shop. Your vision, our print. Right here in the heart of Fort O.
Tune into the Frugal Gourmet, the timeless culinary classic that brings elegance to your table without breaking the bank. Jeff Smith, the original master of budget-friendly cooking, shares recipes, tips, and a whole lot of heart. From savory suppers to decadent desserts, you'll learn how to create meals that taste gourmet without the gourmet price tag. Now airing weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Timeless Classics TV. Don't miss your chance to rediscover the art of frugal yet fabulous cooking.
Stand out with our exclusive backpack, proudly showcasing the one-of-a-kind Lamar Fashions logo, blending style and distinction into every design. Available in white or black, our backpack is lightweight and comfortable for your optimal comfort and shoulder fit. The main pocket inside can store daily necessities and contains a protective sleeve to hold your laptop along with interior pockets for storing valuables. With its classic shape, this backpack is perfect for business travel, laptop soft case, or luggage bag for short trips, and will make a great gift for any age group. The two exterior side pockets can hold your water bottles or your mobile phone. Order yours today in black or white at surplusproductsforyou.com. That's surplusproductsforyou.com.
In a world where every dollar counts, why pay full price when you can get more for less at Surplus Products for You? We connect buyers with a wide range of consumer goods and commercial surplus inventory. Whether you're looking for discounted electronics, office supplies, home goods, hosiery, or industrial equipment, our platform offers a diverse selection at competitive prices. Our user-friendly website makes it easy to find what you need, secure your payments, and get shipping straight to your door. We ensure a seamless shopping experience. New products are added daily, so there's always something new to discover. You can shop with confidence knowing you're getting value for your money. Join us at surplusproductsforyou.com and explore a world of surplus treasures today.
And brother, one of the things that has challenged me my whole life, and I know there's so many people out there, have the challenges is I call it food noise, right? Where, like I would be, how many times have we found ourselves standing in front of the refrigerator looking for something to eat, but you're not hungry? That's the food noise. Telling you to eat something when you're not hungry, telling you to eat something that you're not supposed to. And, people develop massive weight problems and eating problems because of the food noise, as I call it. I help people cure that food noise, so So many of my clients, they say, I go to sit on the couch and try to watch a movie with my wife or my girlfriend, and all I can think about is the food in the cupboard I'm not supposed to be eating. And I completely fix those problems for people. I help people lose weight without being hungry. I help people get more energy without starving themselves. I help people have, more focus, sleep better. I help people develop a better quality of life. And I always say in the process, if you're suffering, then you're not following one of the directions properly. So really, I want people out there to understand is you can lose weight and not suffer. You don't have to be hungry. You can change your life for the better, and you don't have to live. You don't have to sacrifice your quality of life to do so. That's what I teach people to do.
Yeah, I never had no problem with weight. I mean, I could eat as much as I want. Never had a problem. Yeah, my engineer said to me, yeah. Well, I have never got over 200 pounds. And it was, I'm 6'2". You're 6 foot, right?
That's good. Yeah.
Did you ever get overweight yourself?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that's how I started off as a fat little boy. I have a massively addictive personality. I also help people with addiction as well. And my first addiction was sugar. Because when I would get picked on as a youngster, I would run. Literally, I would run. My go-to was chocolate milk and maple bars. I would run to sugary food to comfort myself. So I developed this massive sugar addiction when I was young, and it probably took me till my late 30s before I started to get a hold of that. Because if I ate something that was sugary, I couldn't stop eating. I would eat until I was sick, almost like a dog that you can't give too much food. He'll eat till he throws up. That was me. And then once I started with pro athletics, I had a whole bunch of I had painkiller addictions, I probably was addicted to painkillers on and off 4 or 5 times, because, you get hurt, you go to the doctor, you get fixed, they give you these pills to deal with the pain. Well, you take the pills to deal with the pain, but pretty soon you're not taking the pills for the pain. You're taking the pills to feel normal, and then if you continue to take them, now you're just taking the pills so you don't get sick. Now they got you. And I've been there too many times, brother, and so that addictive personality that I have, I've learned to take my addictive behavior patterns and keep them focused on constructive things that I work on. Like I'm an addict. I'm completely addicted to changing people's lives. I keep my addiction focused on positive activities. And I'll tell you, an addict that learns to use his addiction properly, that dude can make some serious progress, because that's me.
Yeah, I used to drink. When I drank, I didn't care much for sweets. When I stopped drinking, buddy, I started eating all that sweets. And that, and I believe too much sweets will make you hurt all over. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I would eat like, almost like a dog that lost control. I would eat till I could barely breathe. It was really debilitating. It really messed up my self-esteem, because I knew I was doing something I wasn't supposed to, and I couldn't stop. Much like, they found out later, they learned about 10 years ago that the addictive centers in the brain, they basically are very similar. The difference between a sugar addiction and a heroin addiction, the brain almost can't tell the difference, because the reaction from the brain is the same for almost every addiction. So, so that's something that once I started to understand that, I realized, okay, well, then I just need to get addicted to the right stuff in my life, and I'm going to be in good shape. I was always addicted to lifting weights. That was something that helped I was able to take my addiction and point at lifting weights. I was to take my addiction and point it at business. All of the areas I've been successful of is because, like I said, that work ethic, that problem-solving skill, and I was able to take that addictive personality and I'd point all 3 of those things at what I was working on, and bam, there it is, brother.
Yeah, I think sometimes lifting weights would make you get rid of some of your stress too, right?
Oh, exercise in general is the #1 stress reliever on the planet.
Yeah. And I don't. Here's my exercise right here. I try.
Well, I'm in my studio right now here. I'm at my lake house right now. And I'm in my studio here at the lake house, and there's a door right over there. And right through that door is my gym. So I no matter what we basically got a house in Mexico. We got a house in Southern California and a place up in Tahoe. And no matter which house I am, I have a gym there because working out for me is a must. It's not a question of do I. It's just that's part of who I am. That's what keeps me. I mean, if I don't work out, I'm not the same person.
Yeah, some people, they start working out and I think you would agree with me. When you start working out, you don't just try to start and lifting heavy weights. You got to work your way up, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I tried that going to the gym and I got doing stuff that from the beginning. I used to have an ex-wife. She walked me for 3 miles, 4 miles, and but I felt better. I felt better when I did all that walking. And it does take a lot of stress off you walking and doing things. I guess maybe like you do in business too. That helps you enjoy what you enjoy. Takes stress off of you.
100%.
But when you
100%.
when you start doing business while you're trying to sleep, that's when I get
Yeah. That's right. You want that when it's time to go to sleep. You want to be able to go to sleep. You don't want that brain rattling on about business.
My mind works. Hey, like I told you in Taiwan, I call it our times are 12 hours different. I'm talking on the phone at 10, 12 o'clock at night because it's 10, 12 o'clock in the morning up there. And sometimes I feel like throwing the phone against the wall, but I have to respect my customer over there.
Yeah. Well, I got a set bedtime, brother. I'm in bed every night at 8 p.m. Yeah. There's nothing. Yeah. See, because when it comes down to it, not a whole lot of productiveness comes after 8 p.m., and then once you get later, the later you stay up, the more trouble comes about. So I just go to sleep. I get up early. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. No trouble at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I have a problem getting up early sometimes. I do. You talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger. I seen him on the interview. He said that when you get up in the morning, you get that pick up of the iPhone, the whole day goes wrong because you start dealing with that phone the first thing instead of doing your normal thing. Or if you don't do the normal thing, you're not going to get it done because you're messing around with our iPhone.
100%, brother. No, brother, when I get up at 3 in the morning, there's a series of things I do to get myself in that, because every morning, I want to get the best version of me ready to kick butt when the world wakes up. So I read a little bit, reading's a tough one for me. So I read a little bit every day. I write, basically, I write about the things that I'm grateful for, right? I'll do a little bit of exercise in the morning, which is just to kind of wake me up and get, break a sweat, nothing major, right? I make sure that I have got myself in line and ready to go. If I woke up and went straight to my iPhone, I would just be all mentally and shout. I'd be all jumbled up.
I do it every morning. You write a book? Have you wrote a book yet? I don't know whether you did or not.
Yeah. I actually have written 2. One of them's on Amazon. That one basically is that it talks a lot about the stuff that we talked here, some training stories and stuff. But that's called Deep Water. That's my training philosophy, really, if you come down to it. Deep water, what that means is it's the idea that you're swimming out into deep water. You're committing to what you're doing. You're not worried about anything else. You're not worried about can you get back to shore as you're swimming. Kind of like if you're lifting weights, you lift weights all the way. If you're doing business, you're doing business all the way. You're spending time with your wife, spend time with your wife all the way. You're spending time with your kids, spend time with your kids all the way. It's that idea that you do everything that you do fully committed and you don't worry about anything else.
Yeah, do one thing at a time, right?
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not thinking about something else when you're doing it.
Yeah, I got a friend, he's Pakistani, he told me when I start to work on one thing, I don't get into nothing else. I finish that
Yeah.
one thing. And you know, that's a good
Yeah.
way to be. I mean, if you don't,
Absolutely.
if you're working on something, if you'll spend the time, won't- but if you're scattered out, you're going to make mistakes, a lot of mistakes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And we're so, you know, we're so much better at what we do if we're focused on what we're doing. And it's more fulfilling because we do a better job. Anytime we do a good job, it feels good. And when something feels good to do, we want to do it again.
Yeah, and when you concentrate on 10 different things, it causes you a lot of stress too. On top of that,
Yeah.
and not
100%.
yeah. Uh, but
Exactly right.
you got a protein drink out or anything like that right now?
No, actually, when it comes down to it, I'm a big connoisseur of real food. All of the I mean, I've been sponsored by, you know, supplement companies, protein companies, my whole career. And I realized about 10 years ago that the drinks, they were really good at doing one thing, and that was putting money in their pocket, you know. Now, granted, if you're a person that doesn't get enough protein in your diet, a drink is fine. But I teach people how to use just whole real foods. Your body is happier and you have better gut health when you're not using processed foods. And protein drinks, that's processed food. And here's the interesting thing. When I say gut health, you're right. So your stomach is actually the producer of just slightly over 75% of the serotonin that the body needs. Serotonin, everybody thinks it comes from the brain, which it does a little bit, about 25%. Serotonin is what makes a person feel like everything's going to be okay. It's a stress reliever. It helps people feel optimistic. So if your gut health is screwed up from eating processed food, including protein powders, your body's not producing all the serotonin that it was designed to produce. And again, that serotonin is what makes us feel well.
So
I
yeah,
try to, what? Yeah. So I basically, in my coaching, I teach people to use whole real foods. I teach people I mean, when it comes down to it, I always make the joke. My clients, they don't know how bad they felt until I teach them to feel good. Once they're feeling the way like, oh my God, I tell them usually about 10 days, 2 weeks in, you're going to get this feeling you may not recognize, but you're just going to feel better. And I said, just when it gets here, let me know. And they'll say the same thing. They'll say, you know, I don't know how to describe this, but I just feel good. That's the serotonin coming back into their bloodstream. So it's, you know, and when it comes down to it, you know, it's what nutrition is kind of a deep rabbit hole, if you will, you know, and a lot of times people think that the bars and the drinks are the way to go, but teaching people to use whole real foods is far more efficient.
So what kind of foods will you suggest?
So you figure a processed food is something that comes in a bag or a box, right? When you're going to go shopping, what I suggest is you go around the outside of the store because that's all the food that will perish. If you buy something and you can put it in your cupboard and it can sit there for 6 months without going bad, that's a processed food. That's no good for you, right? So you figure you're talking vegetables, you're talking fruits, you're talking eggs, you're talking milk, meats, cheese, all the stuff on the perimeter of the store. You don't need to do the shopping in the middle. In the middle, that's all the food that's all the processed food.
Yeah, and you know, people eat that luncheon meat, those sub sandwiches, and all that different stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not good for you, you know.
No.
I like poke salad. I like stuff like that, greens, you know, kale,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's great for you.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know, the human body wasn't designed to eat all of this food that's got the chemicals in it. So when you're eating some and you look at the ingredients, if you can't pronounce the names of the ingredients, you shouldn't be eating that stuff.
Yeah, I tell you, I love salmon too. Salmon,
Oh yeah,
that's good for you. Um,
yeah,
I love, I love hot stuff too. I can't eat it on account of my stomach, but I love hot stuff too. I don't like to eat too much with anything but pork either. Do you eat any?
yeah.
Do you eat pork? No.
Only time I'm gonna pretty rarely. The only time I eat pork is if it's truly an organic raised animal. And here's why: because if everybody listening, go to YouTube and type in how do they feed pigs. They literally take dump trucks and they put all the garbage in there. These pigs will eat everything. They'll eat the damn plastic. They'll eat everything in that garbage. Well, that's all toxicity, which means that toxicity in the pig gets into the meat. So a lot of times why people have bad reactions to eating pork is because it's all the toxicity that's in that pork meat. So yeah, I don't eat much pork either, brother.
Yeah, at one time my daughter had a pet pig, and we always paid it. We always just buy grain, and we lived up where the Mormons live in that area, and we would buy grains and I used to have horses too, and I'd feed them grain. I didn't like.
Well, I mean, feeding a pet pigs are very different than if you're feeding the pigs to raise them to slaughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but she had it for a pet.
Yeah, totally, 100%. I would feed the pig. I wouldn't feed my pet pig garbage. That's for sure.
No, I always fed them, like horses have been carrots and stuff like that. I know somebody feed the horses pizza. So
Yeah,
that's all good. Now I like a real Italian pizza. I don't care too much for just all these different small pizza joints. I like a real Italian pizza.
yeah, yeah. That's a good. If you're gonna have a pizza, that's the way to do it.
So what I like for you to tell me what you got going on that you want people to know about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, first off, I would like to make sure that if you have some sort of a problem, you're overweight, you have low energy, you're having trouble focusing, reach out to me because, I coach people, but even if you don't want to be one of my clients, I'll still give you some really helpful stuff. Like I have this mental handbook I call the Monster Mindset. And it helps. It's a short, really easy read, and it helps people understand how to change their mental framework so they can be more productive in their lives. And then obviously I have my peptide company. That's maxperformancepeptides.com. And this is basically, again, these peptides are different forms of, I guess it's not really medicine because again, but it acts like a medicine. Peptides are already in your body. They're naturally occurring. It's just giving your body more of a peptide that it needs. Like you can give someone a peptide, say that I'm coaching someone and they want to have some extra belly fat burn. Well, I would basically give them a peptide that signals to the body, hey, let's burn a little bit of extra belly fat, And so between my coaching, right, which that's jon-andersen.com, that's my website, or my Instagram. My Instagram's a great way to find me too. That's the Jon Andersen, but keep in mind, my name is spelled a little differently. My first name is Jon, and my last name is Andersen, Andersen. That's Nordic. So that's the Jon Andersen. Come in there, say hello. And again, if you want to learn more about my coaching, I'm happy to talk to you, or maybe you just want some free resources so that you can go make some progress on your own. That's fine too. My goal is to change as many lives as I can before I die, whether we work one-on-one or I just give you some free stuff to go make progress on your own. Doesn't matter to me. I just want everybody to be happy, healthy, and live the best life that they can. And then I also have, basically, I guess that's the best way. If you go to my Instagram, the Jon Andersen, you'll see everything I got going there. You'll see my peptide company. I also have what I call Peptide University, which is a community where people join and they learn about peptides. A lot of times people want to learn about peptides and use them, but they don't actually want to hire me as a coach. That's totally fine too. So bottom line is, I'm here to change people's lives. I'm here to inspire. I'm here to motivate. However I can do that for any of your listeners, I'm all about it. So two best way to reach me is at the Jon Andersen or jon-andersen.com. And I'm assuming you probably give people the
Okay, well, we always put all that stuff on when we edit and all that. We'll have all that stuff on there. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show and invite you back anytime you want to come.
Yeah. It was a pleasure to speak with you today, brother. You know, I had a lot of fun, man. We think a lot alike, you know?
Yeah, and I thought the same thing when you was talking. But we appreciate you. Hey, if you talk to Arnold, at one time he was going to do a show with us. Something come up. If you talk to him, I know he had a book coming out. We're going to do a show on that. But if you do, and be sure and stay in touch with me. Now, you got my phone number.
I will, brother. Yeah.
And
So now that we had all this fun talking, we'll be texting up a storm, brother. We got a good connection, you and I.
All right. It's great to have you. And anything you got coming up, let us know. We'll advertise it for you.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your time.
All right. You have a great day.
Thank you, brother.
Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on all Talkin Live Show presentations are those of the host and their guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Talkin Live TV Broadcast Studio, EPB Fiber Optics, or by this network or its management.
Hello, welcome to Pumpkin Canine Fashions. I have paw-picked my new line of dog beds. Each one delivers bold, stylish looks that make your pup stand out from the pack. With thoughtfully designed apparel and accessories, my people bring personality and flair to every tail wag. Go ahead, treat your pup to one today. Order now at pumpkincaninefashion.com. That's pumpkincaninefashion.com.
Talkin Live Classics TV has a new look. Now each day of the week has something new in store for you. Tune in Mondays to watch Briefing Room Monday War Dramas. Tuesdays, you can still catch all the classic movies from years gone by. And brand new is our Western Wednesdays every week. Thursdays are classic Vault TV shows all day long. Grab a spot on the couch and have a sci-fi movie and a pizza each Friday. Super Saturday cartoons for your kids. You will be reliving the morning TV you grew up with all day long. Each Sunday is our Southern Gospel Day of Worship. All of the worship music you know. And we now have Billy Graham each week at 10 in the morning and 7 in the evening. Watch online at talkinliveclassicstv.com or anytime on our Roku and Amazon Fire TV channels. You can still catch our Talkin Live show with Lamar Bearden, new every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 in the evening.
Hello world! Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notifications of our upcoming broadcasts. Explore our large archive of shows. Watch any episodes you need to see again. Find our YouTube channel online at youtube.com/@Talkin Live Show, or on your Roku or Amazon Fire TV home screen. Head to the YouTube app to watch without the need of any expensive cable TV service. Subscribe today. Get ready for some Talkin Live.